Ho, ho, ho. I'm stealing Chris's intro because he's dressed as Santa and I am not. So, hey, Chris, how's it going?
Ho, ho, ho.
You stole
That
nothing.
bastard. Are we live? I think we're
We
live.
are live. That's why I started talking, man.
Normally you're like, we're live.
I think, maybe. I don't know.
Just blew it. Anyways, guys, welcome to episode whatever, 67. Virtual Boys
Episode
Podcast.
whatever.
This will be our year-end episode, guys. As we start to head into the Christmas holidays and you stop caring about listening to us and we stop talking about games because I guess we got to get into things like family and giving thanks and love, and I want to talk about video games instead, but
Why?
I guess
Why do we want to talk about video games? That's ridiculous.
we got to do this, that, and the other thing. Don't forget to hit that like button, guys, if you would, please, and thank you. That really helps us out. And for those early in the chat here, welcome. Do we have to have look? I don't know. I can't speak.
Man, words?
Do we have to look back? No. We are going to.
We've been looking forward for the last like 3 or 4 episodes, man. We got to look back. We got to take a break from looking forward.
Yeah, but we're gonna do the looking back for you and bring in the predictions that we did from last year, and we'll get the whole thing going on there. Also, we are going to be giving away dropping codes in chat there, so keep an eye out for that one. There should be some stuff there for PSVR, some PC, some Quest. I am working on another Shugmas. This will be the 4th annual Shugmas, except this time it'll be the VR Grid Presents. Which means Ryan's rolled up his sleeves.
I present. Oh, I'm using the old. It doesn't matter. Keep going.
Anyways, interrupted. But Ryan rolled up his sleeves and helped out this year as well, which has been fantastic since I kind of checked out there for like more than half the year while I was out of town and didn't cover games and didn't have connections. Hey, I didn't cover your game, but can I get a bunch of codes to give to people?
Yeah. Whereas I had the argument of I covered your game on my now dead channel. Can I have codes to give to people?
Yeah.
So it was kind of it was messy. It was messy.
Anyways,
but we have lots coming.
It's been a slower year to start with, but I think we've really we've got a Shugmas giveaway that's gonna tickle all your fancies in highly inappropriate ways. So make sure you keep an eye out for that. That'll be out next week sometime, probably later into the week. So yeah, I'm done talking. Ryan.
What have you been playing, Chris? I mean, you should say. Well, you just talked. What have I been playing? Well,
Nothing!
I was playing. Well, no, that's not true. I was actually playing Mask Maker again on the Quest 2 and thoroughly enjoying myself. And I put the review out and no one watched it, so no one cares. But outside of that, I want to shout out the Falconeer. The Falconeer on Steam got a VR patch, and I didn't get a chance to review it yet. I still plan on doing it. We just lost Chris. So I have no idea what just happened to him.
Chris is coming.
There we go. But the Falconeer, for you guys that didn't know, hey, I'm talking. Shut up.
Sorry, I'm done now.
The Falconeer, for those that don't know, was actually like an Xbox One launch title. Not like crazy. It was only built by one guy. I shouldn't say only built by one guy. It was built by one guy with a little bit of help, I think. It's a really cool like open world. You basically control an like a bird. Your little dude rides on the back of a bird. So it's like a third person kind of eagle flight game, and he basically patched the whole game for VR. So it's a sit down. You play with a controller, not like trackable hands. And it works great in VR. It's a beautiful looking game. It's a lengthy campaign as far as I've only played maybe like an hour tops. It's got lots of like side quests and all these things to do, and you're basically kind of like managing like these political systems in this like this weird like sci-fi, a little bit not sci-fi, like fantasy steampunky kind of world. I don't know. It seems like it's a pretty damn fine thing. It's on sale right now on Steam for $9. So if you guys are like looking for like a new like pretty beefy VR game, the Falconeer is something I would definitely look into. But from what I've played so far, it seems pretty slick. So yeah,
PC only and Steam only right now.
Yes, only Steam. Don't buy it on GOG or it won't be supported. Only buy the Steam VR version or the Steam version.
What is GOG? I've been hearing this.
Man, it's GOG stands for something. I don't even know what it is. I only bought a handful of games from them in the past.
Games off of GOG.
It's because they're DRM free, right? That's the big one. Every game on there is DRM free. I think that's the kind of their jam. So
it's called the Pirate Bay.
Yeah, no, we don't support that. But no, I've got. I mean, I think I got like GOG gave away like free Fallout 1 and 2 one time. I was like, oh, I'll get free Fallout 1 and 2. Played it for like half an hour. I was like, I'm good. But but no. So yeah, the Falconeer Steam. It's $9 right now. It's like a like I think it's like a 20-hour game. I think. Um, it's definitely seems like it's a good little VR purchase. What about
How
you,
does
Chris? Oh,
Well, hang
go.
on a second. I want to go back to this because I haven't played Falconeer yet, and we haven't even talked about it.
I haven't played that much. I don't.
No,
Okay.
I mean, I knew about it because in the summer I played a lot of Switch because I was in hotel rooms, and it was made a big fuss around right around the time that I brought a PC out with me, so I stopped playing. I never ended up covering it, but it looked cool. It was giving me like Eagle Flight vibes for those PSVR people who know what we're talking about, but with like a real campaign. Is that fair? Like, how's the VR?
Well, like it's still all third person camera, so it's one of the, it's I basically said in my when I put out the tweet this thing was coming out that this is kind of to me a very good example of what we can expect from hybrid gaming, in that the game still plays the same, so you're still controlling the bird with a Xbox controller, whatever the heck you're using, or your gamepad, and you're just a camera in the world, right? So you follow the view, you follow about like the bird, and then it's basically it's like Eagle Flight in third person. That's the best way I can
Oh, you
describe it.
can't you never go into the headshot in first
No,
person.
no, no, no.
Oh,
So it's
okay,
literally just like it is like it's like hitting the VR patch on a third person game,
how
which
does
is
it do distance in VR though? That's always like the shortcoming in VR, right? You know, like when you're in an open flight world like that.
it draws far. I mean, like everything, from what I've played, like, there's a fog, obviously, like way in the distance, but generally speaking, the draw distance is decent enough. Like I said, the visuals are also more on the cartoonish side, so they're not like hyper real. It's definitely stylized, and it actually helps makes it look really good in the headset. It just does go for that kind of like a little bit like I don't know. I was gonna say like what's the other game? The Falcon game. What's that one called? The one that you actually have the bird on your arm.
Oh,
Uh,
Falcon Age.
Falcon Age. Thank you. It has a kind of like a cartoonish aesthetic like that. So it's like going for it's a style that works, especially in VR. So it looks sharp. Everything looks good. Their weather effects, everything else. It looks good. I mean, yeah, I used the Quest too, so it was cool. It was just nice to kind of sit back and not worry about VRing in every game. As much as I love VR, it is still nice to just sit back and chill and just with a controller and just
Oh,
play a
I
game.
not yeah, I still
So
love to
yeah,
sit back with a good controller. I mean, ultimately, we've talked about this so many times. I'm a lazy gamer. I was like, I don't know, like as kids growing up in the 80s with consoles, I'm still very much a console kid. My preferred pose for playing games is like this. And like so being at a desk or standing is just not my normal go-to. And so if I can just relax with a controller and just veg, it's a good thing. I just like to see a small little indie dev, um like basically like putting in the time to put a VR mode in there. Very cool.
yeah, it's awesome.
For those of you who are just joining us, thanks for joining us. But Ryan's going to be dropping some codes in there. So
Yeah,
just
and
keep an eye out for
honestly,
that.
it's a low chat. I mean, I just dropped an EU code for gravitational. If you're the first guy rocking in this chat and you see that EU code, give it a shot. If it doesn't, there's a decent chance it might still work. So
Yeah, definitely go nuts. What we were saying before is that we are doing another Shugmas this year, and as we were kind of cleaning out our closet of codes and getting everything in order, we realized how much we were hoarding. So we're throwing those back to you guys. So keep an eye out for those. Um, they won't be all crap.
none of them are crap. They're just not necessarily they're just not like they're just games that we ended up couldn't really give away for no good reason because it just didn't make sense. So we just or devs give us the extra codes for no reason and they just go into a pile. We're giving stuff to our Patreons and stuff like that, which we are doing this year as well. So our patrons are all getting some uh good stuff as well. But yeah, Chris, have you been playing anything, or
What
are
have I
we
been
just gonna?
playing? Well, I mean, okay, so I've been playing. Well, I beat Callisto Protocol. I know that's not VR, and
Boo!
I've
No
actually
VR.
been spending a bunch. I've actually got my what is it called? Need for Speed Unbound actually got its hooks in me, and I will say right now.
I
I
heard
mean,
it's good.
I know this isn't VR, but it's got this stupid animation style around all the cars, this graffiti bullshit. Um, you can just get rid of that for the most part, and you can turn off the horrible music, and you can just not pay attention to the horrible dialogue. but underneath it is one of the best Need for Speed games I've played in like 20 years. So it's awesome, and I'm having fun with that. On the VR side of things, I've been catching up on some games that are in our top. Will be in our top lists for Quest, PSVR, and PC. So there'll be three top videos of 2022 coming at you guys probably in the next week or so as well. And yeah, I've been reviewing some of those old games, just kind of refreshing my memory. So I was playing some Beanstalker. I was trying out a couple of early access titles that I'm not even going to mention because they were just such hot garbage. And yeah, I mean, I am still impressed with Lawn. They've done so much patching in that game, so I've enjoyed that over on PC. And yeah, I mean, I guess I played a little bit of Walkabout actually on my Quest. I was following up on some of the maps that I hadn't played yet. Man, that game just keeps delivering with the courses, and they keep getting better and better. So awesome, so awesome. Um, we'll have Walkabout codes, speaking of which, coming out in the Shugmas giveaway. So if you're wanting that title, keep an eye out for that. I think that's just a perfect like get the fam together if you got a couple of headsets and go play some mini golf together. I love that game in as like kind of like not couch co-op but room co-op.
No PSVR 2 announcement yet for that one, which is surprising.
I know. I know. I mean, I'll 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 go back to an old conversation. We interviewed the developer of Walkabout back on the PSVR chat show, like when it first launched, back 2 years ago, probably just about now for on Quest and PC. And I remember myself and Godcan kind of cornered the developer. We're like, so what about PSVR? We're like the move controllers. It's a golf club handle, like it's perfect, and we would we would kill for that multiplayer. And he was just like, does anyone play that? Like it was so, I mean, he was literally like, I mean, I think it was kind of irritating almost. He was like we were like, it's got like 5 million headsets sold at that point in time, and he was just like, really? I thought it was like, he's like, I thought it was like, like less than 1 million. And I was like, after the fact, I remember thinking, I wonder if he knows what the active player base is. And that could be partially what he was talking about. But still, the level of interest was so low and he was seemed so out of touch with console VR. That could be a contributing factor. But I
Mm.
hope not. I hope not. Because all you PSVR guys out there who haven't had a chance to play it yet, I love Walkabout. I was
That's
playing
good.
Walkabout. I'm like, honestly, probably one of my top 10 VR games.
It's good.
Really.
It's good.
It's just so enjoyable. Anyway,
All right. I'm done with you. So Chris, getting this party rolling. Last year around this time, we made some bold predictions about what we expected in 2022. 2022, that's right. And so I put together a list. I didn't really break it down into like who said what, just because the conversation is kind of fun around both. Um, with that being said, I did do the games, I guess. So both me and you were like, yeah, GTA San Andreas 2022, it's gonna come for sure. And it's been nothing but crickets since that first announcement, like what, a year and a half, 2 years ago. So that didn't happen.
well, before you get too deep into it, guys, just to let you know what we're going to do here, just to give you a lay of the land.
Oh my
You know what? You just sit there and practice your patience. Ryan and I are gonna take a rundown memory lane here from last year and see kind of what our most go over our most anticipated stuff that we kind of guessed and also our predictions. So
Yeah,
we'll go through that and then we'll make all new mistakes this year.
sounds good. Yep. So yeah, so like I said, me and you were both like, yeah, GTA San Andreas, it's gonna happen. We're looking forward to playing this thing in 2022.
Cue
And
the
now
cricket sounds.
now it's gonna be a Quest 3 title at this point.
Yeah,
Um
I think it is. They are so quiet on it,
yeah,
like, with no footage at all and nothing.
yeah.
I feel like it either has gotten canned, which I'm gonna doubt, but, I mean, they never showed footage of it, right, at all, they just said
Nope.
it was coming. I'm gonna guess it's a qu I've said to you, like, Quest 3 launch title, but, I mean, we'll get into that later. That's a later thing.
Oh yeah, so then like going through our list of like this is our list of most anticipated games for 2022, right? So GTA San Andreas didn't happen. Hard to criticize. Next up we both actually had Hubris as well. Which that didn't pan out. The game is pretty as F, and that first level really does give a pretty solid first impression of the game. But unfortunately, that thing falls apart so hard, and we don't do this, but the Hubris is easily my biggest disappointment of this last year. Like I've been pretty jacked for Hubris since I played the demo last year, and to get that final product we got, um, was just disappointed. It was just I was just the whole time I was like, this is what I've been waiting for. This and it's just it plays like a amateur hour first person shooter with amazing presentation.
You know, it's funny because I look back at that list and I must have been really hoping that it was going to be awesome because I think at that point the demo had come out. Think
Yeah, that would make sense.
right, but even if it didn't, what we had still seen was the demo, and it was just beautiful water levels and platforming pretty much. And I remember I didn't actually play the demo. I don't like demo. I don't like betas. I don't like early access. I like to just jump in and you know, hey, you're almost the same way. You're sitting there judging me. But I definitely don't get excited usually jumping in and playing like uncompleted games. I don't really like to have that image tarnished.
Mhm.
But I will say that I remember even when I made those predictions, I have always been worried about Hubris. And I've said this to you since the beginning. Like I was very concerned. Like, is that all it is? Because like even in the demo, you're not doing much. I remember I think you said you're like, well, yeah, near the end you start collecting things. Now when we look back at that, it's like, oh no, that was the
Yeah.
beginning of where the game fell apart.
Yeah, it really was. Like I said, it really is a strong first impression, and then but it never delivers. Like it's like, oh yeah, I can't wait for what's next. But what next? What's next is more of the same and some incredibly weak combat. Incredibly weak. I can't believe I've seen some guys that are just like, yeah, the air are a little bit dumb, but they're still a challenge. I was like, what? Like I don't know what game you played, but they were I compared them to Posts and Cucumber in my review. That's how smart I thought they were.
Yeah, but maybe
And
that's because of the AI of the guys playing.
maybe. Screw you, Mateo. Ha ha ha. But no, I just even if whatever, I tried on hard mode. The only difference on hard, as far as I could tell, was the fact that they just did more damage. So you just took more damage, but they were still just as inept. They just ran at you in straight lines. Unless they were programmed to take cover, they never took cover. It just every encounter became a slog. Collecting became a slog. The plot was all over the place. It just wasn't. It was a very stripped back VR experience, and for $40, that was kind of for me like the nail in the coffin. I mean, it looks pretty as f, and if you're really super curious about it, I'd still wait till it was right now $20. If they fix the issues I mentioned, then it's a different story. But as of launch, I cannot tell anybody to spend $40 in that game when you could buy like I don't know 8 coffees or something instead.
It's
It's
so
just
over.
not
It's
worth it.
really it's overpriced. It's like Half-Life Alex price just about.
Yeah,
And it wants to play in that league. It's like you can't just have those graphics. You know that, right? Like I mean, you still got to give them credit. Like I'd be curious to know what like skill set is of the small team that made this game. I don't think it's more than a few people. I could be wrong.
the credits were actually fairly long.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it was a decent sized
I'm
team.
just gonna guess that whoever on the art design side, and the technical side is it's strong, like, obviously. Um, I don't know. We'll see. It's a game that I hope they just, like, take all the criticism in stride and then just run with it. Like
I
what
mean,
Triangular just said there, like, it's redeemable with patches and updates. I
sure. I
don't know.
mean,
I
it's
haven't played it. Ryan
I
played this one.
I gave it a 6, I think is where I fell on the game. It's not like I said, it looks really pretty. There is a core like the core gameplay is there. The platforming's really fun. The swimming I thought was really fun as well. It's just when that's all you're doing, it kind of gets old. And then like I say, when you get into the combat, it just becomes like it's just dumb. Like I was literally it's you just I was firing blind at guys. There's no risk in the combat. I mean, it's I mean, is it fixable? Any game is fixable.
Well,
Um most games are fixable. I'm not saying it'll be like a 9 out of 10 amazing, but I
what
mean, they could definitely, a little bit of help would go a long way with this thing for sure.
what I had asked Ryan, Triangulator, actually, after Ryan had put out his review, I said, "Do you think maybe if they really spent time on the combat and made it like challenging and not just challenging but like fun, like the guns, I lack, like they're not really that fun to use either. And if they could
No.
give the guns more impact, make the combat a lot more challenging, just make that everything revolving around combat.
Yeah.
If they could elevate that, I'd ask Ryan, like, would that elevate the whole game in some ways? Because then I would imagine that a lot of the crafting aspect also, if you could make it so that that felt crucial and rewarding, that could be cool too. Like again, it's like it all has to feed into the loop of like wanting to keep playing. And if you're just kind of like, oh my god, I don't even need all these consumables because I walk through the enemies, things just start falling apart pretty damn quick. And
Hmm.
if you don't have a good story, which it's not really exactly a narrative masterpiece either, you start kind of like, why am I playing this? A little
Yep.
bit, yeah.
So
So
yeah. And then this list of anticipated 2022 games continues with Chris's selection of Lo-Fi, which did not come out.
Blair, god damn.
So yeah,
I
we can't
But
say
again,
anything.
going back to what was in my head, I also did not think that was gonna come out this year. Not really. It was again, not hopeful in the quality. I have a feeling Blair's gonna pull that off, because it's like everything he's putting in is good. It's just hopefully he can get enough and bring it all together. But it's more like when does that togetherness ever happen?
Yeah.
Almost
Yeah, I know. But yeah, so once it didn't come out, so okay. So then my next one was Ruins Magus, which I don't know if you remember when I reviewed this, Chris, but it was a super disappointing JRPG in VR. I was so pumped on the visual style. Looked, it
how are
was
we talking about it? Yeah.
the visual style. It looked good. It was promising like classic Final Fantasy JRPG stuff in first person VR. And it initially impressed me. Initially, I thought the game was like decent, and then the more I played, the more dungeons were recycled, encounters were recycled, enemies were recycled. Everything just became this like slog of just doing the same thing over and over and over. And the enemies got more challenging. They were given new powers and stuff like that. But it's just the same thing. When I'm playing this game, I was like 10 hours deep and I'm seeing the same dungeons with a different color palette that I was in the first hour of that game. I was just like, it just got old. It just became a giant slog. And then once again, some people like this game. I got sick of it. I was like 14 hours deep before I was like, I'm done. Like I couldn't do it anymore. It was just painful. Um,
Did they ruin Magus?
I guess they did. That's coming
Eh,
to PSVR 2 for you guys out there. I think that's
after all that, and guess what?
hey.
Well, I mean, I can say that it didn't hurt my expectations because I had 0 expectations. I didn't
No,
get
I remember you even saying last year you were the same thing. You're like, man, this sucks. I don't give a shit. Okay.
nope,
Nope.
did
Nope, that's my dog going. So then yeah. And
mm,
then next up for you, Chris, was Undead Citadel, which did not come out this year.
no, but at least there's a little bit of movement on it
That's
now.
2 months away, man.
Yeah, it's got a PSVR 2 release date announcement, so it's like I would assume it's PSVR 2 and PC.
No, not yet. It's as far as
Oh,
they've
are they just doubling down on PSVR 2?
it's a launch game, so there's a chance there may be a money exchange there.
Hmm.
I mean, that's
You're
a
right.
good one to have at launch.
It looks like it's like this diamond that was being polished for years, and it's like if it is what we all kind of hoped it would be, like if it delivers, if it's as fun to play as it is to look at, it's kind of like Sony might be looking at it, they're going, yeah, let's just go buy yourself a launch title. Maybe. I don't know. I mean, it kind of sounds like some money might have been exchanged if it is a timed exclusive, because obviously it's the PC version that it's been worked on.
I mean, like I said, it's coming out at launch. It's a launch title for PSVR 2. So I mean, that's got to be. I can't imagine PSVR should be like, oh, that's cool. Like that worked out nicely. I'm sure they've been talking. I mean, they were supposed to be a PSVR 1 title, so I'm sure they've been talking to Sony for years about this game.
It's actually
So
probably one of my most anticipated launch releases in the yeah, for me, just as a personal thing, because of like it's also like what of launch have I not played already previously?
yeah, totally. I
Like
totally back that.
launch for me is going to be less exciting than it is for say some people who have maybe been like, if you're a PSVR headset and you've been tried and true and you haven't dipped your toe into Quest or PC, launch is going to be just a rip roaring game fest.
Yeah.
Seriously though, damn.
So yeah, and then I was looking forward to playing Dash Dash Racing on my PSVR with all my friends, and those guys have just gone totally silent. Like, yeah, I
We're
was
talking
even
about
expect.
your friends, right?
Yeah, totally. I only you're my only one, and that's dicey at best.
Oh,
Um, because you were gonna dump me because I've lost all my friends. That was actually a joke
no,
against me.
I'm not going anywhere, bud.
Thanks. So yeah, Dash Dash Racing. Those guys have gone radio silent on any developments for their game.
I don't know what's going on.
It's I mean, I'm even shocked we haven't heard of a PSVR 2 announcement for this one as well. It just seems like
Maybe
that's where it would.
they ran out of money,
But they're still making. They're not. The studio's still together. I mean, it's a popular game on the Quest. So
but they're
I
not
mean,
exactly doing anything new either.
no, that's true. I guess. Yeah. So then, you were also looking forward to Zenith. This is your last prediction here, and I got one more after this one too. But you were all pumped on Zenith. Did that deliver? Actually, one of your games actually came out this year. I guess Hubris as well.
What happened to your microphone? Your mic just cut out. You're on a tiny mic now. Uh-oh, Ryan's having technical issues. But I will talk about Dash Dash Racing. uh, yeah,
Okay.
PSVR guys, I
There
hope
we
it
go.
comes.
You hear me?
Yeah, there we go. Yeah.
Zenith. Talk about Zenith.
Oh, well, I was talking Dash Dash too. I was just saying I thought it was I remember saying in my review, it's not enough to just make a kart racing game because there's a lot of kart racing games out there, and there's a handful of kart racing games for VR. And um, yeah, thanks, Dennis. Dennis and I was actually looking there. Yeah, that's good. I hope so. I mean, it's a good game. And that's the thing. Like I was saying, like there's a lot of kart games, but there's an art to making a good kart game. And I can't say that I think Dash Dash completely nailed it, uh, but they got close. And I mean, maybe with a little bit more fine tuning. I have no idea what game that is, Ryan, that you just put in there. Just says NA code.
Yeah, good enough. Screw
Ta-da!
'em.
Um, anyways, yeah, Dash Dash. One of the things that I complained about it was that they've got these like, not to go on too much of a Dash Dash tangent, but one of the things about Dash Dash, besides it looked gorgeous, so PSVR 2, man, it could look so crazy good, because they'll get the PC version, is that they had like kind of two tiers of tracks. They kind of had the like, I guess what you would call normal tracks, and then they had like the advanced tracks. I can't remember what they called them. The advanced tracks, they even had warnings on them. They're like, this is for people who are like good with full blown VR and don't have motion sickness. And those advanced tracks were like fucking amazing. Like they were up there with Mario Kart courses. They were super dynamic. Yeah, like you're like with like gliding sections and just super complicated verticality issues and shortcuts and just amazing courses. And there were about 3 of them, I think. Maybe 3 out of like 10 or 12 courses. And the problem is when you played one of these courses, the other courses seemed like very, very mediocre courses. Now, since then, they patched in new courses and they've added a few more advanced courses. So again, it's going to be a great PSVR 2 launch. So I hope they keep doing that. The game is there, um, as is the old Shuckhead Gaming ringtone or horn tone.
Well,
But
it's still the end of ours.
yeah, well, there you
Yeah.
go. Zenith, you never played it. I
No.
played way more hours than I thought I would. Like, I'm not the social gamer, and it's definitely a game that's much better social. You can definitely play it on your own. You can, but you'll definitely be getting help from people. It's not a game I think you really can't just solo it. You just can't.
Mhm.
There's things you just won't know how to do that they kind of expect people to show you how to do. And there's also just like there's lots of like events, like group events that like you just need people. Now, I don't know what the current status of the online community is, but it's a game that you definitely want to be in a server with some people. Now, I would say for any of you guys who didn't play it when it launched, when it comes out on PSVR 2, buy it and play it. Like that is when you jump back in. A lot of people will be jumping back in to try all the new things they've added since then. That will be the refresh. This is not a game where you can just just buy it on sale when no. It's like this is a social co-op MMO type game. It gave me Breath of the Wild vibes sometimes, Pop One vibes other times. It I felt like it felt a little undercooked. It ran out of ideas, but it was way better than I thought it would be. Way better. I'm gonna bring Ryan in. I think when it gets launched on PSVR 2, because it's a much better game than I think some people think it is.
Hmm.
It just lacks character classes, was my biggest problem. You kind of just saw everybody running around in like one or two court classes.
Yeah. I mean, I never play it. I have no real desire to. I just need more out of my games as far as like story. I need endings. I
There
can't
is,
play endless
well,
games.
I guess there isn't really. It's like any MMO, you can start to get into end game content. Like, you'll know when you've kind of taken it's a big freaking game. Like, I mean, it's grindy, which is the one thing that, like, my friends like you that have kids and, like, have time constraints, these are kind of the games that you have to be very picky and choosy with, you know? Like, I think I know you well enough to know that, like, you don't just jump into any 60 plus hour game,
No,
VR or flat, right?
that's a commitment, man.
And Zenith is a commitment game. For sure. I don't know. For you guys in chat, if you played Zenith, let us know what you think of it, and what your thoughts are on PSVR 2. Like if you're going to jump back in or jump in for the first time. I'm kind of curious to know what the buzz level is around that game. But now, most anticipated games. I'm surprised it made my list. Maybe it was again. It seems I'm looking back at my list, and it seems like a lot of my anticipated games were more like games I was the most like excited to see if they would come and pull it off. And
Maybe.
Zenith looked Oh, excuse me. Zenith looked overly ambitious to me, and
Hmm.
it surprisingly delivered on way more than I thought it would. I thought it was gonna be an absolute dumpster fire. I didn't think it was gonna come out on PSVR. I was wrong on a lot of things there.
Um. Yeah. Sure.
Yeah.
All right. And I went the safe way and basically said Moss Book 2, which, in my opinion, delivered everything I wanted and more, and is probably my favorite game of this last year. It was a bigger, better version of Moss in every single way. It was like double the campaign. Instead of it being 2.5, 3 hours, it was like 6 hours plus. It starts off kind of the same in regards to like Quill and her powers, but then they double down on more interactions with you between you and Quill. She gets multiple weapons. She can find some armor, more hidden stuff to find as well. It was just like I said, it's exactly what you want out of a sequel. It was bigger and better in every single way, and introduced new mechanics, fleshed out the story. It was just, and even the ending for Mouse Book 2 was like, oh man, this is gonna be crazy. So I can't wait for Moss Book 3 just because of the way that worked out. But yeah, Moss Book 2, I mean, my God, you guys haven't played it. It's don't buy it now. Wait for PSVR 2, but it's a gem, man. It's an absolute gem on Quest, PSVR, or PC.
Sweet. Thanks, Geisen, for letting us know that. Yeah, just to reiterate, guys, if you didn't catch it in chat, Ryan's gonna be dumping codes throughout the entire episode tonight. We just really appreciate if you guys could let us know in chat whether you redeemed it, so we can strike it off the list um, out of our tickle trunk of codes. Again, we're doing a fourth annual Shugmas, and so before we jumped into that with all the biggest and best games that we're giving away for this year, we wanted to kind of clean out our closets for codes that we've been hoarding over the last 2 years. So
Okay, let's get.
we wanted to give you guys first shots at those.
All right, Chris. So then we went to our Boulder predictions. So you were all like, "Yeah, Assassin's Creed VR, it's coming. We're gonna play the hell out of that. It's gonna be great." Woo!
Yeah,
How'd that pan out?
that is still the question going into 2023 of whether still is an Assassin's Creed VR game, and we know that Ubisoft announced Assassin's Creed and a Ghost Recon game pretty much at the same time, um, and then they canceled Ghost Recon. Haven't said anything about Assassin's Creed. Um, I remember at one point seeing somebody leaked an image of like what looked like like almost like a mission map for
Yeah, yeah, I remember
Assassin's
that.
Creed, right? And so I mean, it looks like, and I mean, also with knowing a few
So
things,
I think someone released a menu. Now that I'm thinking about it, it
was
was an
that
actual.
was
I think
it
it was the menu
something
of some
like
guy
that.
looking around, and you could see all the. It was like a VR thing.
Yes, yes, that's what it was. That's what it was. And so I mean, it lined up with the things that I'd been hearing behind the scenes, and that was that. I mean, this was never going to be an open world Assassin's Creed game. I mean, some people might be disappointed at that, but that was never going to happen as soon as they announced it being a Quest game. And from my understanding, is that one of the things that are holding it up is the fact that they are still trying to deliver this on the Quest 1 and even the Quest 2, I think is a problem. It's just a tech problem. I think is trying to get this thing to like be because it's visually fairly intensive actually. Like they're trying not to lose the visual aesthetics of the series. But I think it's going to be kind of greatest hits missions where you're going to play various key characters throughout the franchise in their various settings and doing kind of missions. How limited that's going to be, no one really knows. I don't know, man. Do you think it's going to come out?
No. At this, I mean, once again, now we're in the realm now of like it being a Quest 3 title now, and it's stupid to say, but it's been so silent. And every time they do a game showcase, we just keep thinking like, oh, this will be it. We're gonna hear not something, and it's just crickets, 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 crickets. So I mean, it hasn't been canceled. Splinter Cell was totally canceled, which sucks. I was looking forward to seeing how that would have played out in VR. Stealth in VR can be actually pretty damn fun. This, at this point in time, I have no idea, man. I mean, the fact we've heard nothing. I mean, I think we would have heard if it was canceled. So they haven't officially canceled it yet, I guess.
No.
But I'm not
I
holding out any hope in regards
I
to this
had to
thing.
guess what prompted the Splinter Cell cancellation. My understanding was that I remember Ubisoft was sporting losses and financially, and they were talking about how they were canceling a bunch of in development games, like not just VR but across the board, and that they were kind of tightening their belt strings a little bit and reevaluating certain titles and reevaluating like the development cycles and quality and just a bunch of things around Ubisoft and what people were starting to think of their games. I think, and that was when Splinter Cell got canned. You're right. Assassin's Creed just didn't get mentioned. My understanding, with a little bit of behind the scenes knowledge, is that I think Assassin's Creed was much further ahead in development than Ghost Recon was, and so that's probably why. But still, I don't know, man. I will be shocked if we see it. Pleasantly shocked, but a little shocked.
Yeah,
Um,
I agree.
I don't know. Uh, the only thing I could think of is that they've decided to sit on it until Quest 3.
Maybe. I mean, like I said, it
They were
wouldn't
just like,
surprise me.
"Nope," just like, "Kate, once we've got the Quest 3, then we can launch it. We'll do it on PC, we'll do it on PSVR 2, and we'll do it on Quest 3." That might be they're just like, "We just can't make this work properly." Or there was a vision change, like, "You know what? This is actually pretty decent. We really should just let's just not make the typical VR phone in license game and give people a smattering. Maybe we'll give them the full thing." That's just wishful thinking, I think, though.
Um, yeah, so then I went on to say that for PSVR 2, we're gonna have a first party like a Spider-Man announced or like an Uncharted VR or something along those lines. And we did get Horizon. So I don't know if I was technically wrong on this one, though. I wasn't actually thinking Horizon when they announced this, but I was basically like a big first party Sony title being announced for VR.
So you were right.
So
You were right.
yeah, sure, I'll take that.
Yep.
And
Win.
then I didn't put. So I wrote you predicted Rush of Blood 2, which did not happen, but we did get
No, 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 I get the
Switch.
win on that one. I get the win. I totally get the win for that one.
Sure. Fine, I guess I'll give it to you,
I
but
don't remember if I said that if I thought it was gonna be a PSVR 1 game or if we were talking PSVR
no,
2.
I think we were talking PSVR 2. I think at this time we were kind of already saw the writing on the wall for
Win.
PSVR 1. So yeah,
Win.
we both
I
got
won as
wins.
much as you won.
Yay, winning. So yeah, Switchback is coming. We're both pretty pumped for that thing.
Why couldn't they have just called it Rush of Blood 2 Switchback?
No, it's what's it called?
It's
Like
called the Dark Pictures Anthology. Like, it
there you
doesn't
go.
roll off
The
the
Dark
tongue,
Pictures.
man.
Blah, blah, blah. Rush of Blood 2. It
They could have
is.
done the Dark Pictures Anthology, Rush of Blood 2.
They could have done many things. They definitely chose the wrong one, no matter what we say.
So stupid.
And then so this is kind of a messy one, but we basically this is before we kind of knew what Cambria was. But basically, you were like a Quest 2 Pro is totally gonna release next year, and I was like, nope, they're not gonna release a Quest 2 Pro. That's stupid. It's too late. They're just gonna ride the Quest 2 launch, and we got the Cambria, which is sort of a Quest 2 Pro, I guess, in a way, but it's not because it has like shittier battery life and like
What do you
the
mean it's
same thing.
what do you think it's called? What is it called, Ryan?
The Quest Pro. I'm not
Don't even.
wrong. I'm not wrong.
Okay.
Find the box, Chris. It's a Quest Pro.
Yeah, but it's not a Cambria.
Yes, you got it right.
That's like saying that you were right about Ultra 64 back in the Nintendo days.
Hey, that was in arcade machines. That was legit.
Oh, really?
You ever played like Cruising USA in the arcades and
Did
stuff?
they actually
And
say Ultra
Killer
64 on
Instinct
them
Ultra 64 was the rotating
Oh, I
logo.
didn't know that
Oh
name
yeah.
actually made it anywhere. That's funny.
So yeah, Quest 2 Pro, you got that one right. And then I said that there was no chance of a Quest 3 coming until I said Quest 3 in 2023, which as far as we know is actually going to happen as well. So I got that one right as of now anyways. Oh, and then we both were on this both said Apple headset for 2023. Sounds like we're right about that. Maybe, but I mean everything with that just rumors and conjecture, so who
Well,
knows?
I mean, they literally just recently again said, like, sounds like it might get delayed
Hmm.
again till, like, late 2023.
Looks like our codes might be bunk, Chris. We're right.
Well, I mean, we kinda knew this might happen, guys, because some of them are old, but they're just gonna keep on coming, so,
Yeah, we'll just keep trying until one works. So
yeah, there's
that's
lots
the
of
best
codes.
we got.
Codes are
So
coming.
someone said they did redeem it, so not all garbage. Um, I'll throw another one in there, I guess, just for fun's sake. So while we're waiting, let's try this one.
But
And
anyway,
then going on with our let's just kill chat here. So yeah, Quest 3, obviously, Apple, and then a concern that is actually coming to pass sort of is basically I was worried that Sony would screw up their PSVR 2 launch, which I expected last year. With supply issues or delays or the headset being outdated by the time it came out. Which I mean, I don't we don't know yet because the launch hasn't happened. But you know, I guess I could still potentially be right.
well, I mean, I would say that on the tech side of things, the only thing that I'm disappointed about and no, not the cable. Not the cable at all. I still think the cable is an absolute necessary evil for plug and play console VR. I mean, I'm sorry. Again, I know I'm a broken record, guys, but for anyone who hasn't heard, I want to say price, weight, and comfort, and then the biggest thing being the fact that Sony's not going to rely on you having a good route. Like they're just not. Um, do I hope that a wireless feature comes in a PSVR 2 Pro? PSVR, yeah, 2 Pro, like Ryan has said, absolutely. But I don't think we're there yet. That's something that Sony needed to worry about. So that's not my technical issue. My thing is I wish it had a higher field of view. Like 110 is better than the Quest 2's 90. That's awesome. It's basically the same as the PSVR. But I would have liked to have seen like a 120, even a 130, even a 140 into the index levels. I just field of view for me is such a huge thing. Like I've never even experienced the indexes level of field of view, and I bet you that's just like so immersive. Not seeing the goggles, man.
Yeah. I mean, once again,
That's my
I'm
biggest
kind of
concern technically for the PSVR 2. It just is what it is. It's not keeping me up at night, but it's the only thing that I'm like, you know, maybe should have pushed for that, like, as far as dating itself goes. But, yeah, I'm pretty pumped. The resolution's on point. The headset itself looks comfortable, maybe a little bit big, but it looks good. The controllers are gonna be awesome, I think, using the dual sense, technology. And, so and the haptics in the headset, and then the eye tracking is huge. The eye tracking future proofs it.
yeah.
It's a huge thing, I think. And again, like it cannot be undersold how big of a deal eye tracking is when you consider that developers will know that every single headset is running that eye tracking and it's all running off of one powered console. Like they know the specs across the board. That is huge, man. That's huge. And Sony was wise to put their money there. So I'm pretty pumped about that. But again, I mean, just what we were saying is that I'm not disappointed with the headset. Like it looks like it's going to deliver. My concern is the way Sony is handling the rollout so far. And I can say the general attitude of people is going, I don't think anyone's really excited with the way Sony's handling this. I think a lot of us are just hoping that Sony's going to like turn it around and crank up the volume in January, February, but I
Yeah.
still think they're going for the I think still they think they're going for that soft launch, and I don't know what I think of that.
This will be something that we discuss in greater length in the new year. I'm really hoping that we get an announcement sooner than later. Like I'm really hoping for something kind of big to happen in January. Not big, but just like a final announcement. Like whatever they're gonna do, just put all your cards on the table so then we can know and then like go forward. But yeah, it's definitely something I'm just hoping that this isn't it. Like we're just gonna get blog posts for indie games, blog posts for indie games, and then all of a sudden the release is here, and we're just like, great. You know. Um, so yeah, that kind of that does it for our predictions for last year. We kind of touched on it over the last 3 episodes in regards to our most anticipated games. You had already mentioned Undead Citadel. Is there anything else next year, Chris? That you look frozen? Would you stop making that face?
Sorry.
I'm like, wait a second, hold on. Is he still there?
It's my reading face. Yeah.
Jesus. Um, yeah, so you mentioned Undead Citadel in regards to being your most anticipated game, one of your most anticipated next year, if not the most anticipated. Anything else that kind of like comes to mind in regards to the stuff that's like, I can't wait to play this? And PSVR 2 is kind of driving this whole train right now, so
Yeah.
like it's so if you haven't watched the last 3 episodes, guys, we literally went through every single game announced up to that point.
Are you asking me then for my
Undead Citadel, besides Undead
anticipated?
Citadel, is there anything else off the top of your head, that's like that you're like, man, I cannot wait to play this next year?
Oh yeah, plenty. I mean, obviously, I think right now it's all PSVR2 stuff. It really is. I mean, there's just not a lot announced for in the world of PC.
There's
I think
one. There's one.
which is
Vertigo
oh, that's
2.
true. That's true. That's true. But I don't think that would make my list for being most excited. I don't know. I don't know. It looks pretty fun. But like when I look at like games that I'm really excited to play, obviously my mind goes to PSVR2 launch. I mean it has to. And it's got to be I'm really excited to play Resident Evil Village. I love the franchise. I can't wait to play that proper in VR. And I'm really looking forward to Rush of Blood 2, which I don't want to call Switchback.
Oh, it's Switchback.
I'm pretty excited about those two games. And
Switchback I'm looking forward to. I'm just looking. I'm not pumped for Switchback only because like I know it'll deliver what I want for VR for like what it is, but it's not something I'm like dying to play. Like one of the ones I'm really curious about, and I don't know enough to like say it's my favorite, but that whole trailer from that we didn't cover, Skydance's next game, Behemoth or Behemoth, however you say it, Behemoth.
mhm,
Um, I'm really interested in seeing what they have to deliver. It worries me it's announced for the Quest.
yep.
It super worries me that it's announced for the Quest. Because it
Well,
sounds like it's a pretty massive scale. I mean, you watch the
that's
trailer.
the concern. Exactly. It's as soon as I hear Quest, it's not shitting on the Quest. It's just that it's a game that looks like it wants to deliver scale.
Yeah, and it just sounds like the Quest. I've seen the Quest do amazing things, and as much as it's impressed me, it's also let me down as many times. I mean, I just played, like I said, Mass Maker, and seeing the downgrade from the PC version to the Quest version, it's noticeable. If you actually have like, especially side by side, I didn't really know I didn't know how much of a downgrade it was until I actually looked at my side by side footage, and I was like, whoa, like this is a substantial downgrade. The gameplay is intact. The game still looks great on the headset on the Quest, but I was like, whoa. So knowing that whoa is there, I just yeah, I'm leery. As much as I'm super curious to see what they have to offer, but I'm leery. And another one that comes to mind, very similar, would be the Aliens game announced by Servios that we've seen nothing for. They were supposed to do a big presentation last summer, and then the dude that was supposed to do it got sick. He had COVID or something like that. So they scrapped the whole presentation because he was like the guy to do the presentation.
Mhm.
And it's been once again silent. So whatever they're waiting for, I mean, I'm much I'd there was nothing at the game. I thought even the Game Awards would have been a perfect time to showcase that because it's not just a VR game. It's also a flat game. So they're Servios is kind of they're going for broke here by in this with the Aliens franchise, and nothing.
No,
So
but
that
but I will agree with you. I'm glad you mentioned that. I would say, like, if I mean, are we actually making our anticipated games here now? Is this like, are we making claims?
yeah,
Okay,
that's where we're going.
okay. So, I mean, now I feel like we're not officially going off this, but Aliens, yeah, Aliens for 2023, I think is realistic. A fall 2023 thing. That would be pretty awesome. Um, outside of like looking beyond the PSVR 2 launch window, yeah, that would be sick. I really want to see GT7. I really want GT7 in VR. I'm gonna be really I'm actually gonna be kind of angry at Sony if they don't get GT7 this year. Um, it's kind of like it really is kind of like fuck you. Like you bare bones delivered on the PSVR 1 and it's like now you got the power, do it. Just
Do
do
it.
it.
Do it. And then yeah, I mean, it's so hard because I mean, I don't get. I try not to get too excited for things. I try to avoid trailers whenever possible. I mean, I know it sounds weird we just covered all those trailers, but I typically don't get excited for things unless they're in my hands. So unless something kind of surprised me, Undead Citadel. I mean, after I saw that trailer too, I was pretty pumped for what they were showing in regards to what's coming to PSVR two. That was pretty exciting. Um, I'm actually looking forward to the more I think about it, as much as I like crapped on it. Really looking forward to Tales from Galaxy's Edge for PSVR 2. The game I said I wouldn't buy. The more I keep watching that trailer, which I've seen countless times, just because
Yeah.
of social media feeds, it's every time I log into Facebook, I see the damn trailer. I'm like I get it, like I get it. But every time I see the trailer, I'm just like, God damn, that looks so much better than the Quest version. Like it looks, man. It's Star Wars in VR, man. So I'm back on that train, I guess is what I'm
Hey, it's a
saying.
good launch title, man. It's a good launch title for PSVR 2 headsets. I mean, it's no Squadrons. I still think Squadrons is the finest PSVR or like the VR Star Wars game to be released. But yeah, I mean, I still wish there was at least another tail, one more tail. Give us another tail. Maybe there will be. Maybe if it sells well enough on PSVR 2, we'll get a third tail. Who knows? Um, but I don't know. Man, it's just there's not a lot of like big release date announcements. Like and a lot of that probably has to do with the uncertainty around PSVR 2
Yeah.
launching. I think a lot of developers were just being quiet and they're probably maybe some of them are just waiting and seeing. I don't know. It's like I want to put lo-fi on my most expected games again, but honestly, I don't see it coming out in 2023. I do not think Blair's got his shit to get together to get that game like
That was
completed.
in the trailer, man. 2023 was in the first trailer announced for
Don't
PS5.
buy it.
Don't
Do
buy
not
it.
buy it. I
He's
think
not saying don't buy the game. He's saying he
no.
doesn't buy the tail. So
I don't buy it. I think it's false. It's lies, man. It's all lies.
all lies. And then yeah, like I said, it's hard. Like as much as I'm pumped to play a lot of these games, to say I'm like particularly excited for any one. Resident Evil 8, I guess I'm looking forward to as well, just because and especially because I avoided that. Um playing it flat just because I knew the VR version was coming. I
Wait,
guess and I mean, even Horizon. As much as I'm like leery to see, like, we talked about this. As much as I'm leery to see like where they screwed up in regards to like the locomotion in Horizon, it's also going to be a showcase for the headset. Like whatever the headset does the best as far as haptics in the controller or the haptics in the headset, the controller, and how you interact with the world. Like it should be the showcase title for what the PSVR 2 can do. And for that reason alone, I'm pumped. Like it's gonna like whatever foveated plans they are for like their eye tracking, like that game should utilize that. And I want to be able to hopefully notice it and see it and be like, oh my god, wow, this is amazing tech. And I guess the whole point of eye tracking is you wouldn't notice it for some like stuff, but like like, eye contact. It's like if someone if an NPC is actually making eye contact with you, like it's just I don't know.
it's gonna
Yeah,
change. It's gonna change like Ryan's
dude.
VR porn habits for forever.
I said NPCs.
Don't
That
look
was
at
kind
me.
of
It's
stupid.
weird.
But like I said, watching the eye tracking and stuff happen on the quest in like I was playing that world game, world, and seeing them interact with me and seeing their actual eyes like move and like they're blinking was like it was crazy. It was even they were just dumb Facebook avatars. That tracking was like, whoa, this is getting more real than I expected. It was actually not
Yep.
off-putting. It was just like whoa, like things have changed here. Like things are now different in the metaverse.
No, but it's a big. I mean, VR. The word that always thrown around is like immersiveness, right? And big time. Like I've said this before. I've referenced that I've heard people in the industry talking about where PC GPU power is going to go. We're going to see a lot of it starting to as graphics start to hit a bit of a plateau to a certain degree. it's gonna go. You're gonna see a lot of development into AI behavior, and just the idea of those advancements in AI behavior mixed with the ability to like of presence in VR. Like if you really feel like I think I reference back to like playing the first Saints and Sinners, and there was like the one girl in the alleyway there, and I was just goofing around for my video, and I slapped her,
Mhm.
and she's like, "Whoa, like what are you doing?" I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry." Like
Yeah.
I feel like got my hand caught in the cookie jar. I was like,
The
"Hmm."
same thing, the girl there in the alley where and I just had my gun and I went and pointed my gun at her and she went like, "Whoa, don't." I was like, "Oh shit." I wasn't trying to ruin my quest here. I'm like, "No, just kidding, just kidding." Like, "No, I'm here to help. I'm here to help." I'm just a psycho, but I'm here to help.
Like, and then in, like, Lone Echo, if you, like, put your hands on her chest and the motion capture in Lone Echo was, like, creepy good, like, better than a lot of movies, and I remember you, like, put your hands on her chest and she kinda, like, looks at you. I'm like, "I'm sorry. I'm really that was really inappropriate of me." Like, I felt like I got that look like, "I'm really disappointed in you right now, Chris." I was like, "I'm sorry. I don't know what came over me. I'll just float over here now, please." No, it was good. It's good stuff. I can't wait for the eye tracking. No Man's Sky, I think if they utilize it, which I think they probably will, because they seem to be those type of developers. That game, even on PC with a mighty GPU, still has pop-in issues like a
Mhm.
motherfucker. It seems to be kind of just a problem with the game and just these giant open worlds, especially when you're flying up. Like it's just like um, not nearly as bad as it was like on the PS4 and PS5, but it's still an issue. And if they can somehow localize that to like not have to feel like they have to render everything and they can just render where you're looking, at least even the direction you're looking, that would be great.
Mhm.
Yep.
So yeah, like I said, I'm looking forward to a lot of these games, but to say, like I said, the ones I've mentioned, I definitely I'm pumped to play. But I'm honestly now that I'm like thinking for it and going through the list, like I'm trying to like gauge like if I like how excited I got for games like in the past, where I'm like Hubris was I got excited, and Kayak Mirage VR I was super excited to play, and Kayak in my opinion the kayaking delivered amazingly well,
You're
and
such
that's
a
what.
visual whore.
But I'm not because Hubris let me down massively. And whereas Kayak delivered, Kayak felt like kayaking, and it looked absolutely sexy. But it was, and I mean, hopefully by the time it launches the PSVR 2, they'll have side by side multiplayer involved, so you can actually race your friends um, live and not as ghosts. But it was I'm excited. I was excited for Kayak because I mean I played the demo. That was I guess the thing, and it looked amazing. But it felt like kayaking, and that was it. It wasn't just like taking a tour and being like, oh, this is really pretty. It was also like that interaction with the world. Even though it's just kayaking, it's just a pretty simple mechanic. It just felt fantastic, and the idea that these guys, someone can build upon that and even do like a fishing game or something a little more chill in those lines, but having that hyper realistic visual. It excites me because it's the kind of thing you can put someone in a headset and actually blow them away. Like you just whoa, like this is VR. Like I thought VR was like shitty fucking avatars from Facebook. No, 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 no. It's not just
Mhm.
that. It's also like borderline like hyper realistic, beautiful settings that like will blow you away. And there's gameplay actually backing that up. So it's not just a visual showcase, but it's a showcase. And we need that. I mean, I'm not just a visual horror, but I mean, I just read today that graphics sell games, gameplay, but gameplay keeps the players. It's that simple.
I it's
Um,
Did you read me? I posted that on Twitter the other
then
day.
that's what I read. Then I guess you must have came in my feed. I
I
guess
didn't say the gameplay thing,
stop
but
coming in my feed.
no, I remember someone was talking about gameplay, um, the graphics not being everything and da 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 da. And I just remember saying like, well, yeah, I agree, big time. Unfortunately, like I said, visuals, especially to the masses, looking to see if VR's there yet. It's a lot of visuals, man. It's a lot of visuals. Like you've gotta think, especially with VR, right? It's like you need to convince someone in a trailer. At least word of mouth is a powerful tool too, but you need to convince someone from a trailer to go make the effort to put a headset on somehow if
Well,
they don't have one.
Well, and we were making the jokes last episode of how these things look questy, these things look questy, these things look questy, and we're VR lovers. Like we are forgiving of these things because we know what's happening. We know what these games are being played on. But if I were to show you, the Ghostbusters trailer that they showed at the VR Games Awards, and I was like, "Hey guys, check out Ghostbusters in VR," I wouldn't be sold on that. That did not look good. I mean,
But
I
they
know.
but they did they made themselves look horrible because 'cause they're like, "Yeah, look, guys, we're in Ghostbusters outfit with Ghostbusters gear." And I'm like, "Oh, yeah." And then they're like, "And bleh." I'm like, "Oh
Yeah.
my god, what is that?"
Well, and it was quest footage, right? I mean, no offense, I don't like lying about your games, but in that one, maybe you should have showed off the PC or PSVR footage just to make it not look like garbage. It didn't look good. Like I was like, oh, well, that just looks like it looks questy.
Oh
like,
my god. It looks like, a MetaQuest, like, raped a Gen Z a Gen Z teeny bopper. And was just like and then they made a Ghostbusters game, and I was like, What is this? This is no for all for in all the ways." Like, I'm like and as a Ghostbuster purist, I'm like, "Did they just throw a trap from the PKA meter?" No, no, that is not how that works.
that's how that works now. They're
No,
changing it up. They're
and
changing it up.
I heard that the license like Ghostbusters, like from Sony, empowered them to make imagination like words are failing me, but to continue the evolution of the Ghostbusters like look and
Sure, because if it bombs, Sony's not responsible.
I guess
Dreams is responsible.
yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
hey guys, I mean, look, I mean, you guys clearly like nostalgia, so I guess we'll just go back to the well. But we tried something new. You guys didn't like it. I mean, it really. I mean, honestly, it like that's is it legitimately that like, that's the excuse they'll use. Well, that's not our Ghostbusters. we let them do that, but I mean, we don't approve of that.
I don't know. We'll see. I just feel like it's one of those games like who are you making this for? Like I'm a big In Dreams fan and I'm hoping that
Yeah,
they can somehow turn this around, but I'm really worried because I don't want to play that game that we're seeing right now. I don't. And I'm a big Ghostbusters. Maybe I'm too big of a Ghostbusters fan. Maybe that's the problem. Because even Spirits Unleashed, the flat version, I was like, this looks amazing. I was like, oh my god, I was nerding out hard. And then when I got into the game, I was like, oh, this isn't really that fun. And I'm like, and I'm like, okay, and I'm like, and then the game loop is encouraging me to bastardize my tech and make it look nothing like screen accurate versions.
yeah. So I mean, I mean, what was getting back to our whatever point I was making in regards to visuals. That's the whole thing. This whole thing started. I mean, like I said, if that thing looked like, I mean, hubris in regards to visuals, like Ghostbusters with the license is intact and it looks fantastic. And that was the trailer they showed with like wave it. All right, sure. Like I want to see more of that. But after the trailer they showed at Game Shares, I was at Game Awards. I was like, nah, I can wait and see what the better versions look like because God, it did not look good.
Yeah, I mean, Ghostbusters in VR could be like it was like one of my dream games, and that is not what my dreams looked like.
Dude, End Dreams paid like there was money. Like there was a Game Awards. I'm sure it wasn't a ton of money, but at the same time, they were like on Twitter. They were like, "Hey man, like, woo! Like watch the Game Awards. There's gonna be more. Like we're gonna see some footage. Like yeah." And then watching that, it was like, whoa.
I hate to say this, but like when they showed that early footage of it, I was already like, ugh.
Well,
And
that
then
was even
this,
that was
and
just
yeah,
pre-rendered. Yeah.
and this looks even worse. I'm actually hoping that. I mean, in dreams, I really hope they're not stubborn enough to just go, nope, this is our game. People will love it. It's like, no, you need to listen to that feedback.
Look, I mean,
You
like
are not going down the right road with this,
a
and it's
license isn't
not
enough,
just a
man. I mean,
graphics
look at Transformers VR. I mean, that
thing.
came out only for the PSVR headset, and I don't think it moved the needle much. It was a by the numbers wave shooter, and I played through it in like I don't know. Like each mission took like 30 minutes, I think, 30 minutes. Like so it was like a 4 or 5 hour game at the most, and I was bored to tears from you fight the same guys in the first stage you do in the last, and it's just ugh, like ugh. So just a license alone will not make your game sell.
Well, a lot of times a license on a game is not a it's rarely like a guarantee for quality. In fact, it's almost the opposite. Too many games rely on that, or they spend too much money on the license and they can't develop a game. I don't know. We'll see. I'm a big In Dreams fan. So far they haven't released a shit game. Like, I love Shooty Fruity. Fract was cool, even though I thought it was too short. And Phantom Covert Ops, again, kind of ran out of ideas, but it was a really cool game for what they were delivering on there, and it was a decent quest port too. So that was a quest game that didn't look too questy,
Ah,
and it looked gorgeous as fuck on the PC. The lighting in the Phantom Covert Ops on PC, in fact, that's a game I need to bang out for when people come over. We were just talking about that. Good game to put people into with the guns and then the kayaking. Anyway, I digress. I don't know. Anticipated games, it's a tough one because there's just not a lot announced past like PSVR 2 launch.
yeah, I know, and it
So it's
sucks.
so PSVR 2 focused.
Yeah, like so outside of Vertigo 2, which I actually am really looking forward to. I really Vertigo number 1 was a nice surprise, and Vertigo 2 looks to be like 10 times more. It was supposed to come out 2 years ago, for God's sakes. Like he's been really putting in the time to, I guess, make this thing hopefully as polished as possible, or maybe even bigger and better in scope. So, or bigger in scope. So, I'm
Yeah, I would say that I think we would be foolish to not put Vertigo 2 on our most anticipated games because I think that like you said, it's been in development for a long time. I played the demo. There was a demo that came out around the time that
years
yeah,
ago
around
now.
the time that the remastered version came out, and the demo already was like had a polish to it and already looked, you know, miles ahead of the remastered version, and like as a shooter at least, and they seem to be focusing quite heavily on that. Vertigo 2 could be amazing. I think I think that's a game that's not going to be a hubris. I think you're going to play it and it's going to be just like idea after idea after idea after idea. Hopefully they can bring it all together, but it looks great. Um yeah, I'm really excited about that. And yeah, I mean, I guess we've got about, we're kind of in our last half hour here. What are your give me like let's do four I guess of our what's the word I'm looking for? Predictions.
All right, so I'm going to start off with one that, as much as I'm looking forward to PSVR 2, and then I said they're, we just talked about my prediction last year about them screwing up the launch. The more I've even said, like, they're not done announcing games yet. I think they're going to screw up their launch. I predict that the PSVR 2 is going to come out of the gate flailing. And I think reception will be really good for some things. And I think because mainstream media is going to be, I shouldn't say it's not going to fail. Let me reiterate that. But with mainstream media now going to be back all over this thing, with IGN back all over this thing, and GameSpot and like CNET and like all like the big, huge like Forbes and all the magazines that none of us read at all, with all of them coming after PSVR 2, and because there's still a pretty big hate on for VR, unless outside of VR gaming, I think any cracks that the PSVR 2 shows, regardless of how inconsequential they actually are, will be exacerbated. So it's like PSVR 2 fails, let's just say the PSVR 2, let's just say it's predicted to sell 10 million units. This is a crazy number. 10 million units next year, and let's say it only sells 5. I just made me be like, PSVR 2 under delivers in sales. Like I just predict that same thing that happened 6 years ago to happen again. And I think it'll be an uphill battle for PSVR 2 to climb that unless they have a stellar library of games in not just a great, not just a good, like solid. I mean like stellar library of games. And I'm worried that and they won't be the ones defending themselves. Like you defend that by like releasing games. You defend that by showing that what this is. We are getting that Bioshock game they announced at the Game Awards that looked crazy. It wasn't Bioshock by the same guys. Like if they announce something like that coming to VR, that's how you answer haters. And if
I
Sony
know.
doesn't have the answer to that,
And they don't.
then
Right now they don't have enough of it.
right now I told you right now they don't have that. So if they can't come back with that next year, I think it'll be us again as YouTubers being like, no, 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 guys, like you got to like try this out. No, no, guys, you got to really give this thing a shot because like it's great, and I don't want to be in that boat again. It's just looking more and more likely that it might happen a second time. And so yeah, I'm really worried they're gonna screw the launch up and then basically be chasing their own tails trying to fix that. Um and that could be hard to do.
Yeah, I think that I don't know. It's an uphill battle. Sony knows it. Uh, I would say that I don't know. Is Sony coming into a better ecosystem to push VR than they did with the PSVR one? I'd say yes. Ultimately, yes. It's a much VR is in a better place than it was when they came in, except the fact that they had the hmm, anticipation, I guess, of without any expectations necessarily. Or at least, I mean, maybe or improper expectations. So maybe that's just one big lie. But if you know what I'm trying to get at, it's just like the tech community is probably really excited to see console VR coming. So they were maybe a little forgiving because it was like just starting out, and it was forgiven for maybe missteps in the very beginning, right? It was like, well, hopefully they get the software. Whereas with PSVR 2, it's gonna be I think we're gonna be seeing a lot of people saying, "Hey, the tech's there. It's there. This is a good headset. This isn't like, like this isn't skimping." Like the PSVR 1 was like already hitting the ground like as a poor man's VR a little bit, like it was. I mean, it was wonderful for what it was they were doing for console players, but it was definitely not where VR was at. The PSVR 2 is, but it's all gonna come down to software now. Like,
Mhm.
software and sales. Like, no excuses now. It's like, it's gonna be like, this is where you prove it. You double down on VR, and
Yeah.
if Sony doesn't if they've doubled down in all the best ways on the headset, I think, like, they did it. They nailed it. We're happy. Need the software, man, and you
Yeah.
need to get off the goddamn blog posts.
So yeah, I mean, like I said, this is more of a big worry. It's more of a repeating the same mistakes, I guess, that the first one went through, and it shouldn't happen. But like I said, as of right now, we're 2 months away, and me and you both, and many more of us are like, this can't be it for launch. Like, there's got to be something else coming, and Sony's been quiet. I mean, it seems like they're really backing Horizon, like they're backing Horizon
Too
to a
much.
point now where right, where it's just like Horizon, guys, Horizon, and we're like, but what else? And they're like, but Horizon. And as much as I'm looking forward to Horizon, when I beat that in like one day, then it's just it's just all these questions. I wish it was February now so I could get out of this zone and just know what I'm getting, just so I know.
I'm still really excited about it, but I mean, okay, let me make a prediction. We have my first prediction will be my easiest one, and the one that that I'm gonna rage on is I think we'll have GT7 in on PSVR 2.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you already talked about that, and I cannot
But that's
argue with
my
that.
prediction.
Um, yeah, that's a perfectly valid. I mean, even though, yeah, that's totally awesome. Um, Yeah, so my next prediction was going to be that the Quest 3 is also going to underperform. Um, I think Meta's
So
definitely
you
on a.
think we're gonna so you think they will drop a Quest 3
They've
in
already said as
2020?
much. They've already said
Yeah,
that
yeah,
the
yeah,
Quest.
but you're thinking
They've
definitely
been pretty
Quest
good
3.
with their announcements and
Yep,
dates, and they basically said Quest 2 Pro or Quest Pro 2022, Quest 3 2023, and I believe them. I
yep.
think it's going to come out towards the end of the year.
Same time as the
Um,
Pro, I think.
yeah, I imagine so. So basically,
September.
PlayStation has like a 6 month lead on them. So in that time, I hope in that 6 month period, I hope PlayStation really shows why you get a PlayStation 2 and not a Quest 3. Unless the Quest 3 just fixes the whole mobile problem and then now it's just a mobile PSVR 2. But I'm guessing that's
It
not
will
going to
have eye
happen.
tracking, I think. I think the Quest 3 will have eye tracking.
But now we're talking, but now we're talking price, right? And this is where I'm saying it might fail,
Yep.
where they start putting all this tech in the headset. We just saw for the Quest 2 Pro is $1,500. Like, and so we're expecting that price to suddenly drop to $500 next year for better battery life, better everything, better everything. Because if the Quest 3 isn't as good as the Quest Pro, That's a problem. That's the meta is running into a huge communication issue now, where now it's like, well, the Quest 3 is our newest headset, but our last year's headset is actually the better one. But the last year's headset only supports Quest 2 games, but the Quest 3 game can only play Quest 3 games. It turns into a really weird thing because like I said, the Quest Pro is a Quest 2. It only they said the Quest 2 games, nothing's gonna change. There'll be nothing Quest Pro exclusive except for like their AR bullshit, right? Or maybe some additional modes like Demio. You can do the Demio thing, right? So if now, like I said, the Quest 3, I just people want the tech, man. And if the Quest 2 can show you what all that stuff actually means, or at least shows the mainstream what that actually means, and it becomes a little more expected, then yeah, I just think the Quest 3 is gonna it's not gonna go. I think they're gonna rely on something like GTA 6 to be like, guys, it's only on Quest 3, and and just mobile might fall behind. I don't know. I mean, I once again, this is just like me spitball. We know nothing about the Quest 3. I just don't know how they're gonna make the Quest 2 Pro into a Quest 3 for the same price as a Quest 2 right now. And if you start going into the $800, $1,000 for the Quest 3, it becomes an issue of price once again.
No, I think
That's
the Quest 3 will probably be priced about the same as the current revised price of the Quest 2. I think they
right.
can sit
So you're
there.
saying in 1 year since the Quest 2 dropped, the tech from the Quest 2 will now be $1,000 cheaper.
I mean, but the Quest Pro is not what they're bringing out in the Quest 3. They only said that some of that will. Some of
Right.
those
So it's
ideas will.
because then it gets very, very confused, messy, and people don't like messy.
No, but I mean, I think it's more just gonna piss off the people who bought a Pro. I think the fact is that they're gonna subsidize. They'll take a bit of a hit on the Quest 3 because that's for the masses. I mean, it'll have a cheap ass head strap. It'll probably have less than spectacular lenses in it, I think. Um, I don't. I just they're gonna cut corners some places on it, and that's just the way it's gonna be.
Yeah,
I
then it might underwhelm. Like this still stands my point. If they cut enough where it just would be like, well, I mean, why should I get this?
I think
What
for me personally, I think the big thing is that the Quest 3, I don't care how many little features you add to it, it needs to be a significant jump up in capability power-wise, a significant. Like it can't just be the Quest 2 Pro. Like that is not a big enough step up to make a big difference. Maybe with eye tracking, if utilized, okay, fine. But no, the Quest 3 needs to be a significant jump up. And if games are coming out on the Quest 3 and they still look questy, then yes, I agree with you. Um, but I don't know. I'm not willing to say that it's going to underwhelm. I think it could be awesome. I'm looking forward to competition across the board. Like Quest 3 versus PSVR 2. And Apple decides to dip their overly confident under delivering toe into the tech market. That's good for VR. Um Rob, Rob. I don't know what to tell you, dude. How does someone who has PC VR not know how to PC?
Well, it's in his defense. You have to use the app to enter the code. Like it's
That's right.
Oculus doesn't make it easy, man. They really like to mess around with that. So
Brandon, Quest 3 probably will be as powerful as a base PS4 because the Quest 2 is in spitting distance of the OG PS4 already. So that's
it's,
probably fair. The architecture is just so different, but if you look at it from teraflops, which is
isn't it 2 to 4? Isn't it 4 for PS4 and 2 for the Quest 2? Am I crazy? I don't remember
I
the
can't even remember
flops.
anymore now. I just remember that was in spitting distance of the OG, of the OG. The Pro doubled it, right?
Maybe that's what I'm
I
thinking
feel
of.
like the PS4 was 2.8 teraflops. Okay, you just talk to the masses. Let me look at this for a second. I'm curious.
Flops? You looking up flops?
I'm looking up
This
flops.
podcast is a flop.
Fuck you.
Uh, I don't know. Just it's the
One
idea,
point
guys.
1.84 teraflops is the OG PS4. 4.19 was the Pro. So it was double just about. And I remember that was a big deal. Um so what did I say? I said it was 1.84. Eh, can't. Quest.
Anyways, yes, your point still stands. The Quest 3 will more than likely be as powerful as the original PS4 VR, which would be awesome. But once again, we're like, that's cool and that's great. But if PSVR 2 does what it's supposed to, it's still gonna look, uh, not as good. Which is, I guess, I guess it'll be that divide between mobile and tethered headsets, which is the argument that happens forever. Um, but
So Quest 2 is I just looked now. It was like a 1.2 teraflops versus a PS4's 1.8. So, like I said, spitting distance. Um,
apparently, it makes a difference though, based
yeah,
entirely what I've seen. Like, I mean,
it's not just teraflops. I mean, there's also got the problem is that it's also then putting on a higher resolution, so or at least the possibility of a higher resolution. So it's a tough one to just compare apples to apples on that stuff. It really is. I mean, I really do feel like I'm hoping we'll get into a situation where it's like, okay, there's PC and console VR, that's your high end AAA shit, and then you've got standalone VR, and it's just going to be its own beast. And I just hope that certain games just learn to stay in their lanes.
mhm.
That's what I'd like to see. Probably not going to happen. And standalone will only get better and better. But I will say, just on a side note, I was when we talked about this in a previous episode. John Carmack, right? John Carmack
Yep, yep. Good job.
was on Rogan, and they were talking about tech basically, and just how it keeps getting smaller and smaller and faster and faster. And he said we are at a point now. He's like very very quickly, like in like the next few years, where it can't get smaller, and unless there's a complete like revolution in the way that they're making um microchips. He's like, we're at a point now where it really can't get much smaller, and he's like, so then he's like, you are going to see a plateau of GPU power, and you can kind of see that if you look at a 4090 GPU in PCs now. It's like a piece of luggage that you're adding to
Oh
your
yeah.
right? Like, it didn't get smaller, it got significantly bigger, and what he's saying, though, and he was talking Quest, 'cause when this podcast come out, the Quest 1 had been out for a bit, and he did say that that is going to affect standalone VR markets, because they just can't just keep getting more powerful, like,
Mhm.
without getting bigger, heavier. I mean, they can save weight probably in certain ways, like, better batteries, lighter lenses, but at the same point, you know, it can't just keep going. It's gonna have to get, you know, more optimized. So that's where eye tracking comes in. So I'm pretty excited about that. I don't really know where. I guess that was kind of a jump off from you talking about you thinking or predicting that you think the Quest 3 lands flat, possibly.
Yeah.
It's a big prediction. I don't know if I've got a prediction as big to go with that. I would say, I mean, I guess my prediction will be to go along with that is Apple 3 comes out and revolutionizes some fit and form uh, aspects of VR and user interface, but falls flat sales wise because it's priced right out of the market.
Mhm. I mean, like I said, they've not to say they've said, I guess, but by all accounts, um, like they are not planning on making this a mainstream device. Like it's going to be expensive.
Maybe,
It's
but it's taken so long to get to market. It almost makes me wonder if they've changed, because we saw the HTC Flow, right? And we've seen the Quest 2 Pro come out. And both of them like didn't I don't feel like they lit the industry on fire. I mean, I could be wrong. I don't think it's, doing gangbusters. I just wonder, it's like, who are you making this for? Because to me, Apple's just setting themselves up for failure. Like, it's or setting VR up for failure to people like, "Oh, look, see, it didn't sell well. Apple had a failure." I mean, I watched one tech guy talking recently about the Apple getting into VR, and they said the thing about Apple is every time they've approached something, which to revolutionize an industry, they always attach themselves to like one thing. Like,
mhm,
like with when it was the iPod, it was like, obviously it was music, all your music. And then when it came to the phone, it was very much the touch screen. And it was they always try to like attach something that you need in your life, even though a lot of 'em might be like you can't even imagine how it's going to affect you. Something they always focus on one thing that's gotta have it. and all he said was right now he doesn't know where that in is for them with VR.
Yeah, I mean,
Like
yes.
what do you take to the masses with the new Apple VR headset? No, this is why you absolutely have to have this. And maybe they have that thing, and that's what could be exciting about it, but I think it's gonna under I think it's gonna I think a lot of people are gonna be like, "Yeah, that's cool. Apple did VR. No one can afford it."
Yeah, I mean that is the concern. Like, and it honestly it becomes it becomes the Quest Pro all over again in regards to just like, yeah, that's the thing, and no one really cares about the Quest Pro anymore, as far as I can tell. As far as my feed goes, it just seems like there was the hype there, and everyone's like, but how's it look on the Pro? How's it look on the Pro? How's it play on the Pro? It just seems that conversation's just died now, and no one really cares about that headset, which I think is how it's supposed to be designed in the first place. But that initial hype was just ridiculous for as far as gaming goes.
Which is why I don't know if I agree with your Quest 3 prediction, because there's is obviously a real desire for, like, that next step up. I think a lot of people are getting tired of Quest limitations.
Yeah,
Uh,
for sure.
you know what I mean? Like, it just they just want
I see what you're saying. I just think I think the Quest 3 is not going to do enough. Maybe I'm wrong.
and I agree with you, Blam, about Apple not bothering unless it's great, and it's also why they've probably been gun shy and delaying it year after year. I don't think they necessarily know how to get into this market. Um, so we'll see. We'll see. I'm excited to see what they do because Apple getting into VR was like the two big ones. It was Apple and it was Microsoft. And Microsoft is yet to like really commit, not just, like co-make headsets and have like Windows mixed reality and stuff. We'll see. Um, Unfortunately, I don't. Jump partnering with Microsoft in VR has happened. Xbox in VR is a completely different conversation. So, um, what else you got for a prediction?
I mean, it's such a weird year. So obviously, kind of like Apple, PSVR, and Meta were kind of like the big three. Outside of that, um, the only thing I could think of was that Valve blows us out of the water with their next headset. The what's it called? The I forget what it's called now, or their project, whatever that project name. I can't. It's escaping me right now. I don't know why I don't know that. Anyways, their next headset, the bother me. Um,
What company? Pimax?
Valve.
Oh,
No, I'm Pimax. Jesus, are you kidding me? Pimax is this weird like
we'll see.
Pimax is like for like VR elitists. Like I haven't
No,
used the
remember
headset.
the new one that they're working on.
Oh right, the everything. It does everything for like dirt cheap. I forgot about that.
I don't think we'll see
Um,
that in 2023, and that's my I wanna I'm just that's my that's also on my predictions that we do not see that Pimax headset in the wild yet.
I almost had the Valve stupid name. Valve.
The
Yeah.
Deckard?
Yeah, Deckard. I'm expecting an announcement next year. I don't think it'll release next year.
Mm,
But I'm expecting a very, very, very high end headset. Like I'm talking if they do what it's supposed to be standalone or tethered. I think it's gonna be standalone like but like Steam Deck level where it can run like your Steam VR library. I'm not sure how they're gonna do it. I mean, but I think like just given the I mean I know the Steam Deck is a rather large headset, but if they can figure it out, I think the Deckard's gonna be the next crazy like $2,000 commercially available headset, but $2,000 that actually looks like it's worth it, not like a Quest Pro,
I don't
you
think it's
know?
gonna do standalone. I mean, if we're basing off of what Sadly It's Bradley is predicting, is that there'll be and you're right, I think it'll be pricey. Because I think that the new index will not just be like headset, where it's like a PC and then there's the headset that just does the visuals. I think sounds like it's gonna have some PC guts. It's gonna do some combined heavy lifting. Um and but so it'll have some of the capabilities of a standalone headset, like wireless. It'll
Hmm.
have it might have its own kind of be able to do some of its own operating system stuff, and maybe standalone be able to do some of the things outside of gaming, certain applications where the rework stuff. I think it's going to be an all-in-one. But when it comes to gaming, like it's like you're going to connect to Steam and you're going to need the PC. I think for the heavy lifting, it might be a hybrid thing where it's like it'll get some Quest games, like almost like I guess kind of like a Steam Deck where they might be like, "Yo, no, this is mobile capable, but
But
you
it'll
can."
still use the HTC Vive trackers.
Hell no. I'm hoping they go inside out tracking, but they probably won't. I don't know. That's a tough one. Unless they jump on, say, like the same bandwagon as the Quest Pro with the cameras on the controllers, because that's been one of Index's biggest things that everybody said, like it tracks way better. It's kind of that's been I think a lot of people would think it was a step back if they just did inside out tracking with no next step forward on that. So I don't know. Maybe inside out tracking with the option of towers.
No, towers are done. I think towers anything that requires that kind of tracking is done in my opinion. It'll all be inside
I
out.
don't. I disagree. I think for the PC side, I think there's people like
No.
with all your full body tracking people. No, I think that's not going to go
No,
away.
now you got those cool Sony tracker things now. You're good. Those little clip
Yeah, we'll see.
things.
We'll
I
see.
have one more prediction I just thought of now. But you can go next if you have any more. I can't remember what we're up to. I just reading chat. I love when he just reads chat and just zones out and doesn't respond to me.
No, sorry. Did you ask me a question?
Yeah,
Sorry.
I did.
I
I
zoned
did.
out. What'd you say?
I said, "What's your next prediction?" Is what I said.
Oh, I was waiting for you. I thought you said you had one more.
Yeah, but I said, "But do you have one more first?" Because I just
No, I already gave mine.
okay. Well, then I was gonna say I this is a prediction slash wish. I want Farpoint 2 for PSVR 2. That's my prediction. Like the Impulse Gear is gonna be like surprise.
Yep.
5.2. We were working on it. It's so good. Yay. Yeah, that's it. That's all I
Yeah.
got.
Okay. I don't know. I mean, I've got some predictions. I'm trying to think of something to send this off. Um,
I predict this VR Grid channel explodes and we become the biggest, best VR YouTube channel on the planet.
Well, I don't know. Our predictions weren't on point for last year, so I would say
But they might be on point for next year.
this is a smaller prediction, I would say, but I'm gonna guess that we will see Half-Life Alex by fall of 2023. I don't think Valve's gonna get involved in the launch window now at this point. It's too messy with Quest shit.
Sorry, say that again. I zoned out there. Ha ha ha. I was in chat.
Yeah, see, good old chat. I was gonna say I see Half-Life Alex 2.
Two. Oh
Sorry,
my
sorry, not
god.
2. Sorry, not
Oh.
2. Sorry. Half-Life Alex coming out for PSVR 2 by the end of 2023, like a fall release, like
I
a
could see
like a
that.
holiday release.
I
I
could see
don't.
them. I could see them wanting a big release,
y-
especially
Yep,
if the Quest 3 is coming out. I could definitely see them also.
yep,
If their answer to GTA 6 is Half Life Alex 2, it's a good answer. It's a good answer. Even though it is a game that's already been on PC, it is still the go to VR experience as far as like a licensed franchise in VR goes. It's one of the few that just it delivers on most fronts. And for casual VR users, it delivers on all fronts, I guess, is
yeah.
how that
That's
works.
that's probably a fair assessment. Um, Before we get into wrap up mode here, guys, just two quick things before people start jettisoning. There'll probably be a few more codes coming. So, um, but besides that, don't forget to hit that like button, guys. It really helps us out. And yes, Shugmas, the VR Grid is presenting the fourth annual Shugmas that is coming. So stay tuned. Um, Pretty much, if there was a game that was good this year, we probably got a whack of codes for it. So stay tuned with that. If you've watched Shugmas before, um, we don't dick around, and this isn't just your average channel giveaway. This is all. This is only codes and peripherals that we loved. So the quality is there, and we love to give. This is our giving back, and it was nice having Ryan's involvement this year to make it as good or if not better than the ones prior. So
We've
that's
got
all.
good games, man.
That's
Every
all I'm saying.
almost
It's
every
not.
game, every good the best games that came out this year We have codes for damn near almost all of them
It's
across all the headsets.
it's not by accident that I'm wearing this sexy ass.
I just gave away one code for Resident Evil 4 for Oculus.
Ho 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 ho.
Yeah,
Shit.
someone won something good. That and those codes. I mean, I keep seeing like these codes. And someone said Crisis Brigade was redeemed, but that shouldn't that like, that's a pretty new code from you. So
Which
I wonder
one?
if Crisis Brigade.
They said
Those,
it didn't redeem.
they said it was already redeemed. So I don't know if someone in chat redeemed it and didn't say they
Someone
got
beat
it.
you in chat because those are
Yeah,
brand new codes, guys. Brand new.
that's
Those
what I
are
thought. That one when they said redeemed, I was like, well, that should be the case. We got
that's
some old shit in here. Like, there's like I do apologize for some of those ones that said they were redeemed. Like they've been sitting in these things forever. We were like, do these things expire? And we're honestly like, I don't know. So yeah, so I do apologize for anyone that said that they didn't work. That being said, I've pumped way more games into this chat than I expected to. So yeah, thank you guys. Hopefully, many of you got something out of this thing. Um, we like to give back. This is the whole point. Like I said, Shugmas is coming, and we have over 100 codes to give away for the best games released this year. And that ain't no joke, man. That ain't no joke.
yep.
Yup.
Well, I was trying to decide whether I was going to surprise Ryan with something or not.
Oh, okay. Well, am I supposed to like beg you or something?
No, I'm not. I'm
Okay,
not.
good.
I'll tell you later.
Good, fine.
Something Shugmas related, but
Oh my god, don't. I hate when you do this fucking shit.
um.
uh,
So you
the
done with codes then? Is that are you closing off the
I mean, I can just keep dumping like lesser codes, but Resident Evil 4 was my big ender there. I thought, you know what, we can do an RE4 code in there.
Ryan Blue's load? He's done. He's done.
Well, if anyone wants gravitational codes, EU or NA for PlayStation VR, literally just say yes. I want. I will dump the rest of these in here as long as I have people that will take them. I just need to know a number.
Which
Like
which game is this that you're whoring yourself out to?
gravitational, I've got one EU code left, I think, and then I've got two more North American codes. It's just I know PSVR is our audience, right? This is the place. If anyone wants PSVR codes for this game, I got one EU and two more North America. Assuming the ones that were given above were actually redeemed. That's the thing is I don't know.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
will
know.
say for you PSVR guys, Shugmas is a little light this year. There just weren't the games, man.
Minus one game, not this year's game, but if you well, I'll just say it, Synth Riders.
Yeah,
They
the
ponied up
big
a lot of codes. If you want a code for Synth Riders, you should probably watch Shugmas.
Synth Riders is the game that keeps on giving.
They just
Um,
released new
they
DLC
did.
today, or it comes
Bru-
out
So you got
tomorrow.
It's got Bruno Mars in there. It's like a funk pack type thing. It's got
Yep.
Silk Sonic's a new band that I've been actually digging. They're like a throwback Motown group, Bruno Mars. That was actually pretty cool to see them add that in there. But yeah, cool shit. I guess I just ending things here, guys. I just really want to appreciate all of you for participating in this. You know, this has been a big change for both of us, Ryan and I. Although honestly, not as big a change
Well, not
as
as far as the Virtual Boys goes.
no,
It's pretty much on brand.
but what I mean is the fact is that because we did Virtual Boys and we were starting to talk so much anyways around that stuff, and we even before Virtual Boys that started because we were talking all the time, you and I, and with the friendship kind of there already. Combining channels wasn't nearly as I guess difficult as it could have been. Geez, Salvador, you're such a sweetheart. Um,
Salvador, we love you.
I like that prediction. I like it. I like that prediction. Um, we're excited for 2023. I mean, just behind the scenes when Ryan and I were talking about combining, and I was out of town. There was definitely a lot of talk around. Well, we've got to get our shit together, basically by the time we roll into the fall, because there's going to be PSVR 2 stuff to talk about at least. With the idea of just kind of like getting our groove on and trying to figure out like just workflow and what works and what doesn't, getting into like when PSVR 2 hits, because once the PSVR 2 starts rolling out games and the Quest is doing its thing and PC's doing its thing and anything else that comes along the way, this is definitely going to be a two-man job. So This is going to be fun for us, and there's a lot of stuff we still want to do. Um, so for those of you who are kind of, come on the show and chat with us, this is you guys are kind of our feedback into some of the stuff we're doing. So if there's things you want to see moving forward into 2023, things that you love that we're doing across the channel, we'd love to hear about it because it helps us kind of like decide how we want to do. Because ultimately, you know, we do it for our own enjoyment and also watching. It's not just a passion project.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, like I said, we're all planning and all of having all of our ducks in a row for PSVR's 2's launch. And like I said, with both of us here, we are going to cover that hard. I mean, I'm booking time off work for the launch. We are, like I said, we both got our pre-orders in. We're friendly with developers. Hopefully we can get you reviews, ahead of launch so you guys can come to us first and we can answer your questions as fast as we can. And yeah, obviously we're continue covering PC stuff, Quest stuff, and we have also our top games of the year that's coming out within the next couple weeks. We'll have that Chugmas as well. We're not going anywhere. We love you guys, and yeah, that's about all I got to say.
Man, a few words.
I am Wonder Rob. But if we keep talking, Chris, they'll keep giving us money.
No, Rob and Salvador already gave us our Christmas gifts, so I think that's pretty much all we're getting. But guys, I appreciate you guys just being here and in chat. I mean, this was us giving back to you anyways, but get ready for Shugmas. Get ready for Shugmas. So
Ho
excited.
ho ho.
Is this? I feel like there's like a Santa tease going on here. Oh,
Don't.
oh.
I mean, I can't say it now, but I mean, just listen to the audio for this one.
Merry Christmas to you.
All right, Chris is clearly done. Yeah, guys, thank you so much, and we look forward to seeing you live in the new year. This is our last episode this year, unless something surprising happens. And yeah, that's all I got to say, Chris.
Yeah. Yeah, that'll probably be it. I like basically the plan for the end of the year, guys. Unless something big changes, we're gonna have top 5 PSVR, top 20 Quest, top 15 PC VR. Those 3 videos should be coming out in the next leading up to Christmas and Shugmas. That's the plan. It's and that'll kind of, I guess, run us out to the end of the year. I think both Ryan and I will be pretty quiet between Christmas and New Year's, unless something we just decide that we just have and I'm
I would
looking
lean
for.
more towards quiet.
Most likely we'll probably be playing games. That's usually catch up on some gaming, but who knows? Who knows? But we'll be kicking off the new year pretty bright and early. I'm actually toying with the idea of doing the giveaway on here for Shugmas.
Oh my god.
Haven't talked about that with Ryan at all
No,
yet.
he has not. No, he has not. And nor are we having this conversation after either. This is a conversation for tomorrow, Chris.
Anyways, guys, you know what? Top mods. That's another video that is in the works, or at least in my brain. But I haven't played enough of the mods. I've been out of town, so and
You
Ryan.
don't say that. You just say it's in the works and you just leave it.
Well, I'm letting you know it's in the
I
works.
haven't played that stuff though.
I said all of them. You know what? We were ending this on a nice note.
Mm-hmm.
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 Say Merry Christmas, Ryan.
Merry Christmas, Ryan.